gentlemen carpenters.
It's crazy to think that this all just started from sitting in your backyard having a cigar together around the fire, right?
I remember that day. It was nice and sunny.
Yeah.
And you just finished sealing the driveway, and
You were talking about all your nice cigars and your nice drinks you have, and I was like, you know, where do you smoke cigars in the winter, right? And you're like, you sit in the garage and freeze your butt off, and I was like, that's not very gentlemanly, is it, right?
well, you asked me. You said to me, "Have you ever thought about building a cigar room?" And I thought that was a pretty odd question. Where did that come from?
Was it? Well, I had been, I don't know, kind of dreaming about it for a while, and kind of dreaming about building something like this, you know, all the wainscoting, and I've always loved sort of the whole gentleman's room kind of a thing, right? And when I brought it up to you and you're like, oh, that'd be cool, and started showing you some pictures, and then of course your wife Glennis was like, well, you've just retired, maybe you should build one. And we're like, hurry up, start the truck.
You start the truck, start the truck.
Let's go get some lumber.
We both looked at each other like did you hear? You
just
heard
said
what
yes.
she just said, right?
Yeah.
So you came right away. I said, well, I don't know if I have enough room. So you said, well, let me just go check your furnace room or your
Right.
storage room. We came here and you pushed a bunch of stuff out of the way. You got a measuring tape.
Just happened to have a big oversized storage room that had enough room to do, what we do, 11 by 13 room here, I think?
I think it was 12 by 13.
12 by 13?
Yeah. You know, the thing that absolutely amazes me is we were trying to think of some kind of a theme or something. And I had something buried in my mind, and then I started talking to you about it, and then you started saying, oh, wait a minute, and you grabbed your phone,
Yeah.
and you start clicking on it, what about this? Go, yeah! And then you clicked on, I said, yeah!
We were both on the same page right away.
Exactly. That's what blew my mind about how did you get inside my head for something I never
Well,
really planned.
I had already been dreaming about this, so.
So funny that how your
ready.
dream was somehow in my mind already.
Was what you wanted, yeah.
So today we're starting a super fun project. We're doing a cigar lounge in my friend's basement. And so we're going to try and capture the whole 1930s speakeasy kind of style. So with the wainscoted walls all done in oak paneling and everything. So yeah, so we can kind of see our room here. We have an 11 by 13 room. We got a few kind of fun challenges trying to figure out, you know, sealing this completely with spray foam and poly so none of the cigar gets out of the room, and a bit of a HVAC system so that we can get fresh air in and sucking the cigar out, along with a HEPA filter style, like the rabbit air style filter for the cigar also. So we're gonna have like some coffered ceiling up in here with the tin roof, fireplace, just a faux fireplace. So yeah, so let's go get some 2x4s. I picked up 2x4s. Here's kind of our first bit of the wall that's going across here, our doorway here. Yeah, not much to show yet, but tomorrow we'll come back to a bit framing. Electrician's coming in tomorrow, and hopefully HVAC guy fairly quickly so we can get on the whole venting the cigar out and everything. So okay, so we got a little bit of framing up now, not a ton. You can kind of see the door there. So the biggest thing we've had on this job was trying to figure out the whole HVAC thing, and it ended up just being we needed a pretty good fan to put in. Where we thought we were going to vent it out, we couldn't, but so we ended up moving a bit of ductwork over so I can get my bulkhead space symmetrical from both sides. We capped off this one and then just continued the fresh air over. So that's a fresh air return. So here's the fan we've got. I don't know if you can hear that. It is quiet. So you can see maybe what kind that is. It's a Braun. So that we thought was going to be a big ordeal. We ended up just venting it out right out through the garage and then out through the roof right outside. And then this little guy is going to be our return air from just in the mechanical room. And so that should be good.
It was pretty cool how it all came together with all the trades and everything. I mean, starting from, you know, this was just a wide open room, and I was able to just frame up one wall to section this off, create a little vestibule, and still a storage room for you guys, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Because that was an important part. And then, you know, Steve, the electrician, was able to come in and do his part, and then stumbled across a HVAC guy, and he came in and moved a bit of the tin work for us. Was able to work side by side with him and put the HVAC in like right up through the ceiling. And
well, that was the most important part for me, because I promised my wife that no smoke would be in this house, none whatsoever.
Right.
And then also because with the duplex, the
Jen
guys,
and Randall next door, Jen
Right.
was like, I better not smell cigars.
exactly, I know, because they're allergic to smoke, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I said, okay, that's when this HVAC guy, when he came in, oh no, no, actually it was a spray guy.
The spray foam guy.
Remember, he said, "Don't worry, he said that. I guarantee you won't smell," because he used to build places for guys that were.
Yeah, so he'd spray foam the whole
Yeah,
thing, like
yeah.
ceiling walls,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you put all that sealer on the 2x4s or on the floor. You put sealer everywhere.
Like caulking along
Yeah.
it, to seal it all off.
Exactly, right? So again, that was very, very important not to have any smoke in this house. It all had to go up the, the exhaust fan.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a spray foam day going on. The guys are down in the basement right now. We can't go down there because it's pretty fumy. Some of the unit in here. So customers got to be out of the house for a day to let the fumes go. They'll vent all that out. So yeah, once that's done, I'll show you guys what that looks like tomorrow morning. Spray foam done this morning. Looks pretty cool. So all the whole ceiling over the vents, everything is all sprayed to, we did about 1.5 inches. These are 2x4 walls, so you can kind of see how thick it is. So basically everything is sealed up and pretty ready for our cigar room. It's quite the process.
It was crazy the amount of oak that went into here. I remember going to Home Depot and we started looking. I mean, there was never a consideration for any other kind of wood, right?
Bingo.
Had to be oak because that's the classic gentleman's room.
Right.
Oak or maybe like cherry wood. So I mean, I remember you picking up this stuff. It was like $80 a panel for 1/4 inch, and truck after load, we brought lumber in here, wondering where it was all going, right?
And I remember how you specifically picked out the grain yourself. You went through every
panel to
to
find the grain that I wanted on it, right?
Yeah.
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 And cut each panel to make sure the grain was up and down, not horizontal on any of them. And
Do you remember one thing after the paneling was put up? What we saw that night when we started looking around at the panel? Do you remember?
all the different faces and the knots and everything, right?
And the angels.
The angels up behind this picture.
I still get goosebumps when I think
it's
about
pretty cool.
every panel had
and some of the knots.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was something. Yeah.
We've got all the paneling up now. So some of the complications, I started laying out our drop ceiling up here and found out that the room is 1 inch out of square. So that caused some complications, but I think we've got it under control. So the main thing is, if you're doing something like this, is to keep, because we're doing the panels in the center, we want to keep the panels this drop ceiling has to be parallel. So the inch that I'm out, I'm gonna lose that in this bulkhead, which you shouldn't really notice it too much. You might coming in the door, but really not much. I guess I could have done it in that bulkhead also, I guess, and take up like a 1/2 inch each one. But my main concern is to have the center parallel exactly for our tin panels to come in. And those are going to come up here, and then the last tin panel is going to kind of round down into this to get a little bit of that sort of train car kind of a look on some of like the Orient Express kind of quite elegant train cars. So we've strapped the ceiling. We're cutting through this a little bit just to get it through, and then it'll be tin panels. So pretty soon we're going to go get a bit more paneling. And the paneling, this paneling will just carry on through here and up, and then that'll all get wainscoted also. So,
well, you know how everything came together with your ideas, and how your ideas, you know, with the way the oak, the grain in the oak had to match the walls up into the ceiling, the bulkheads. It was, and then of course your idea. Well, we needed a unique roof, and you remember you said the
train car feel,
yeah.
Right?
So then, great idea. So we went ahead, but now how are you gonna make that curved?
Right.
You know, the curved
we were
roof.
looking at tin, right? But it was kind of hard to find, and you'd have to strip it and everything. And so we ended up finding this at Home Depot of all places.
And how many Home Depots does that have to go to? I think it
To
was
get all the pieces,
every
yes.
one. We
Yeah.
bought the entire stock of.
Yeah, and the fact that it's PVC, it was able to bend, and so
Right.
then we could create that train car. I was so happy about that. It was
Right.
a bit of a challenge to get all the trims and everything on the end with the ceiling, but it just bent in so nice.
Yeah.
And finished off that wainscoted bulkhead, and then leading into that, and just created that beautiful vintage train car feel that we both loved so much, right?
okay, so I've got some of the wainscoting done. You can see the ceiling there. So today, I'm just kind of back from the weekend now. Today I'm working on the ceiling. So here's the tiles. And you can kind of see it now. Turned out really nice. It's pretty cool looking stuff. Instead of doing a cornice, we just bent the panel and made like a nice kind of a train car kind of a look. So now we're doing the rest of the paneling, and I'm installing our door today. We were able to find a 1910 door. It's pretty cool. Original stain on it and everything.
Finding that old door, 1910 door, was an amazing find. That it's period correct, actually from the period, right?
Exactly. Yeah. With all the original
Yeah,
brass doorknob, the brass hinges.
that was amazing to find all that, right?
And then we found that brass kick plate from an old department store from the period, correct, as well.
Right. And it all matches the original brass grill that we even put on, that's from early 1900s.
Exactly.
And the 3-part system that we put in there, being that there's the filter on the other side of the wall, and then the baffles in the middle, so that no smoke can go out, but fresh air, you know, they lift up and the fresh air comes in.
And to think that came from like the 1900s, and it had that baffle system in it, like.
Right. Well, the baffles were that aluminum one you brought.
Yeah.
And it worked well for what we needed, but I remember it didn't look nice, so I was like, how are we going to cover it up?
Right.
So then you found this amazing
Bingo.
brass grill, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Like the door being so old, I mean, you wouldn't expect an old door like that to work for this, like being able to seal it up, but with some weather stripping, you know, we sealed it up pretty well, right?
Yeah. There's no smoke exiting this room through that door seal.
Yeah, and then just the little sweep that we put on the bottom, and you can't smell anything
Nope.
outside the door.
Check that out. Pretty old school. I like it. Just solid brass grate there. And then next is our fireplace wall on Monday.
And then that fireplace.
Yeah,
You know, I had to go to, like, it was way east of Edmonton, way the heck out in the boondocks. Lady was selling it, and I said, yeah, this would be good because it had the fluted front pieces.
Right.
And then I brought it home, and he went, okay, and he tried to.
The mantle part wasn't really working, so we
Right.
just used those, which were a different color.
Right.
And then the painter said, hey, let's paint them black. And that worked out really well, just to tie everything in.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even that we literally designed the whole room around that Goddard picture, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, and then started with this whole bump out, which actually covers your down. Is it a sewage?
It's a stacked sewage.
It's a stack or
yeah,
a sewage
yeah.
pipe, right, behind the wall.
Yeah, you had to be very creative with that.
So as you can see, I've started the feature wall. So now the fireplace was quite a bit smaller. It was a fireplace that the owners bought, and it just kind of wasn't working, but we liked the look of it. So I just took it all apart, and I'm going to use these parts here, and then I just widened it all, and started in the little built-in cabinets, as you can see. So we're going to have two doors with the I'll call it chicken wire, but it's thicker than that. I'm not sure actually what it's called. Yeah, you know what I mean though. You see on some like liquor cabinets. So we're thinking these were some that the customer got from a friend of theirs that were left over. Just kind of some nice little fluted half columns. So I'm sort of thinking of doing the, I don't know, like our 3.5-inch wainscoting like I have everywhere else. And then putting that halfway with like a plinth block on the bottom and kind of a similar deal on top with the wainscoting across the top there and the bottom here. And we're thinking about, I think, granite or marble countertops for the little liquor cabinets. So yeah, it started coming together. You can see a little fireplace in here. So this part, I'll probably, you know, just put a piece in behind here that will come as close as we want to bring it and up with a bit of an arch like it had before. Just a wider version of that now. So, okay, so we got all the trim on the fireplace. Well, starting to now. So we got the crown mold here, along here. Built this out yesterday just to add a little bit more. Customer wanted. I think we're going to look for kind of like a little rosette kind of a deal that goes on here. Changing a couple things. Some of these things, when you get into them, they kind of just evolve as you're going. So I'm going to get rid of this arch, and basically going to cut this piece just right across there. Actually, I'm going to take this whole piece of arch off, and all of this is going to go in flush to there. And then I'm going to carry this piece across here with a couple little panels like this in here. And then the marble tile will come all the way up and then across like that and inside. So this, if I hadn't mentioned before, this little fireplace has a little water reservoir in it, and it actually lets off kind of some steam to simulate smoke and kind of a few things like that. So obviously that steam affecting all the mantle here is an issue. So I'm going to do the marble inside all the way around and encase the entire fireplace cavity in marble, so that we don't have that issue, and hopefully it doesn't become an issue up here. Yeah, so there's tons and tons of little trims. I'm just finishing off a little piece here now. So look at that, how nice that fits. Boom. So I got one of those on either side now. Yeah, and then the granite on here, and then it's build the front of the cabinets. So we're getting pretty close to being done for trim.
Remember when we were designing the cabinets that I kind of had an idea for like a chicken wire kind of a grading thing, but you know, I didn't chicken wire wasn't going to cut it for this room, right?
No.
So, and then you found these things at Lowe's, which
Yeah.
was such an amazing find, and then a little bit of paint and just made them so much more opulent, which tied in with the beautiful fireplace and the grating on there, and just tied everything in, right?
Exactly.
So we're building just some custom doors with some metal in them. Okay. See that there? So this stuff's pretty cool. Check that out. And so I'm just going to recess that right into the back, and that should be pretty sweet looking. I'm going to show you guys this too. Check this out. I picked up some buttons to finish up. Look at these little guys. They're just, we didn't know quite how to finish this. So, picked up little, we call them upholstery buttons. Yeah, so it finishes it off really nice. You can see that up there. Look at that. It's pretty sharp looking. So, we're kind of down to finishing touches. Trying to finish up all the last little trims. Fireplace here. Let me see if you can see that. Okay, so I closed in the fireplace now. You can kind of see that. So that's going to be tile, black marble, and all the way up to this line on the floor. That's so basically all around down to the bottom, up just below that trim and down will all be marble and inside the fireplace.
It was great having painter Dave come in here.
Cool. Did he ever do a really super good job?
Yeah, and even the fact that he had even done some old period buildings like these in town, like some wainscoting, right? I mean, that was hard to find a painter that could do that.
No kidding.
But the stain work that he did, and then sort of the highlight, the antiquing, I guess he called it, was just over the top. I mean, that's really what brought this room together, right?
Again, like you always keep saying, period correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we went away from the room for a little bit, the cigar room here. As you can see, my friend Dave, the painter, came in and did all the staining here. I mean, that looks fantastic. So come in and see what we've done in here. Look at this. It's looking pretty awesome. We wanted Dave to try and do a little bit of antiquing, so he did kind of a little bit of like a dark brown or almost a black kind of spray in around some of the wainscoting, the trim here, like this, just to give it that really old kind of look. And I think he really nailed it. I mean, between the ceiling and the walls, it's really got that feel of walking back into the 1920s or 30s into an old like gentleman's room or a study or something like that. So the fireplace, we had challenges with the this color was on the fluted spots, and of course we took an existing fireplace, and you know, the fluted sides were fantastic, so we wanted to try and utilize them somehow. So we ended up just Dave sprayed them gloss black, which will kind of match the black tile that's going to go around, and the black insert of the fireplace also. So today we are going to start laying cork flooring, which should be pretty cool. Start tying the room together, and we slid in our first piece of granite. So that is looking pretty beautiful looking. Look at that, eh? Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I remember this cork floor that we found at the same place as the door.
Right.
And then Dave came and painted it, and I was at my cabin. I came back, and oh no, it was too dark, so he had to strip the entire thing down.
Right.
Because it had to match.
To match the floor, because it was such a unique shade, right?
Right. But he did it. Phenomenal unbelievable what's in
Amazing
this
to work
guy's
with.
mind, how he can turn the whole thing around.
A little frustrating for him, but
Yeah.
he pulled it off. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, did he ever?
Okay, so we've laid the poly down now. We've created a little bit of a vapor barrier for the cork to flooring to sit on. So this is just a floating floor. Here's our cork flooring. It's just a click together. It's just floating. And for those of you that are watching that don't do this stuff, we're going to leave the flooring about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch away from the wall so that it has a little bit of breathing room to move, shrink and expand and whatever else throughout the seasons. And yeah, and then we'll do a little trim over top of that to finish that off.
Yeah. Looks beauty. It's got a real nice old look to it. I mean, it really complements the walls, I think.
As far as that, trying to get that old 1930s look. Back in the cigar room today, guess who I got on site?
Hey!
Got Josh out from Ushitat and My Hands Gallery. So I figure I'd call in the big guns to finish up the taping because I just got too much going on in the cigar room here. So Josh had a bit of time to pop over and finish up the little vestibule area here for us.
Happy to do it.
So we got some sconces up now. Check these out. Looking pretty sweet. So I'm installing doors on the, you can see those are pretty sweet looking. I sprayed them gold yesterday. Look at that. So I used same buttons I used up on the tin to put those in. I thought it might be a little bit more kind of period correct sort of deal. So now we're building a couple shelves, floating shelves, so they're lagged in quite well. We're putting some pretty nice liquor bottles up on there, so we wanted it quite heavy. So did floating, and we cut a little hole in the back here, and the plywood is actually going to come out about 1/2 inch, and we're going to lay a strip of LEDs in along here. Electrician's going to wire that in, and then we'll have our plywood shelf out here, and this will all get trimmed out basically just like the fireplace is. So we got the shelves in today. It's hard to see with these crazy lights, but you can kind of see what I've done here now. And that's where our LEDs are going to sit, down in there and on the next one. So I got Josh involved for a second, for a few minutes. He was doing some taping, and I thought, hey, I got these little guys to put in. And so I thought, hey, that seems like a good artist thing to me. So Josh just whipped those in and put them in for me. That was pretty sweet. So those get painted yet. So they're quite cool. They're almost, I don't know, almost kind of medieval looking.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Right? They're like 18th century Victorian kind of, and that's kind of what we were going for. So they're they're going to kind of look like little vents, and I'm going to paint those the same color as the side ones here to match. And that was the customer's idea to put those in after I had made those little spots. So
Remember when we were trying to figure out how the heck you want that transition?
Right, from the vestibule.
Right, so that area, so you made that nice to match the rest of the house, and then you see this old antique door. You go, what's behind there? Open the door, and then voila.
That's kind of where the whole speakeasy idea kind of came from, right?
Exactly. So
and then you had that your kind of beer cooler out there, and I was like, well, that can't be in here.
No.
So we built it into the wall.
Right.
Yeah, it worked out really well. It all came together.
And it's
nicely.
just the details that are in this room. I could spend an hour just showing you little details, but the old antique telephone and the light switches there with the real pearl, the push button ones from the old houses, and the way you built that box around it to highlight it. again, I could go on for hours here. It's the detail and how it turned out. It's completely just blows my mind. When I'm in here at night by myself, I'm having a cigar and whatever spirit I want to drink, and I just go back in time.
Right.
And I'm in an element that it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk out that door, you're back into reality.
Right.
You come in here, it's like you go back, you go
In another time, yeah.
exactly right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't videoed in a little while. We got our vestibule done. It's looking pretty nice. So the cigar room is pretty much done. There is the man himself, Ernie, that let me go crazy on this room.
And she sure did, and why we're lucky I let him go crazy.
So look at some of the beautiful artwork he's got here. Got some nice collections of alcohol. Could have a TV in there. We got some nice Zen music going on. Look at that. Some nice Goddard art. Got some nice old 1930s ashtrays and a spittoon.
Light switches
Oh,
from
yeah.
the olden days.
Light switches, all solid brass. Yeah. And check out this fireplace. That is from Steam. It's pretty sweet. And Ernie found some old cutters. What is
Tobacco cutters.
that's a cutter, and what's this guy, Ernie?
That's a cigar press.
A press.
For the sizes, to make the sizes of the cigars.
Super cool.
God only knows how old that is.
Yeah. And another very old cutter. These are probably from the 30s, eh?
Oh, at least
20s,
I would
30s,
say,
maybe
yeah,
older?
30s, yeah.
Maybe you recognized these guys from my shop. They got donated to Ernie's room.
The cause.
Their new home.
They sure look like they belong, eh?
Yeah, very cool.
Well, hello there. Welcome to Ernie's Man Cave, Ernie's Cigar Room.
Voy a
Cigar Room. That's me. Clint, I owe you a debt of gratitude for this amazing place. I enjoy it so much. The workmanship, the craftsmanship, how it all came together. It's just phenomenal. So again, I can't thank you enough. I got the best man cave in the world. Thank you.